A very good day to all ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, I am honored to present my action research for the eKolokium organized by PPD Tatau Sebauh. Without further ado, let us begin my research presentation entitled Using Super Mario Game to Improve Year 5 Pupils' Understanding of Articles A and N. For the background context of my research, I did my research in a school near a housing area where the students live nearby, and the school's facilities are not fully equipped, which means there are no science lab and computer lab, and most of the pupils are Bidayuh, Malay, and Iban community, and the English language proficiency are average. It is not too high and it's not too low. Next is the problem statement. The first problem statement is pupils cannot differentiate the articles of a and n. Pupils also get bored easily using the same worksheets that I gave to them, a graded worksheet, but for the low proficiency pupils, they really cannot differentiate the articles of a and n. And also, less integrating 21st century learning in the classroom, which means I didn't integrate the critical thinking skills and also all the collaboration in the classroom. And this is one of my problem statement, my teaching and learning reflection on grammar articles. As I stated there, as I observe my pupils completing their worksheets, the low proficiency pupils have difficulties in differentiating the articles a and n, which can be seen in their graded worksheets, especially for the low proficiency pupils. And I focus more on the grammar a and n, and this is one of my participants' answers on grammar articles a and n worksheet. This particular student got 1/10 for the graded worksheets given, and most of the answers are wrong. She only get 1 correct. So how do I solve it? So this is my research focus. One of it is incorporating game-based learning in a classroom setting. According to Vitlearn 2015, people who engage in such activities every day will have a continuous interaction with the English language, such as playing online and video games. Nowadays, kids prefer playing video games and any online games out there because they are more learning English when they try to play video games. They learn faster when they play video games. And also computer-based video games existence has been growing, and game developers and researchers have started to examine video games' influence on students' intellectual learning, which cited by Mariam Saravati 2016. Computer-based video games are not just we are playing it for fun, but also incorporating English language in the video games itself. So from there, the pupils can play it while they are learning English language. And the second one is the application of technology in teaching and learning grammar, with the finding on the effectiveness of computer in grammar teaching. Computer with all the multimedia can be effectively used for teaching of grammar. For example, like the graphic images, clear photos, sounds, and videos can be used to help teachers in grammar teaching. Grammar lessons also will become more effective, motivating, and interesting, according to Lu Trong Tuan and Nguyen Thi Min Dan, 2010. Kids learn better when they see it, and it is mostly by visual and also movement. So I choose game because it is more to visual, and they learn faster when they see things. And also the next one is using language games as one of teaching language skills. It involves factors such as rules, competition, comfort, and particularly learning. As we all know, video games, computer games that we've been playing all this while, there are rules, competition, and the comfort and the particularly learning in the video game itself. It also helping learners to learn in a fun environment. It is the most important characteristic of using instructional games in an English language classroom, according to Hadi Salehi, 2016. Okay, the model that I'm using for my action research is Chemist and McTaggart's model, which is plan, act, observe, and reflect. For the plan, I discover my pupils' problems, which they cannot differentiate the grammar articles a and n. So I created, I intervented the Super Mario game into a grammar game. And for the act on observe, I did the pre-test and asked the pupils to answer the worksheets first. And of course, I do the teaching and learning before they play the games to let them understand better for the grammar. And I observe the way they play the games and facilitate them when they needed it. And also, after they've played the game, I will reflect back all the worksheets, the post-test given, and when there's an improvement, I don't have to repeat the model back. So if there are no improvement, I have to plan and improvise my intervention, and I will repeat again, plan, act, observe, and reflect. For my research objectives, there are two. To improve the Year 5 pupils' usage of articles a and n using Super Mario game, and also to improve my teaching practice related to the usage of articles a and n using Super Mario game. And the research questions. How does Super Mario game help pupils to use articles a and n? And how does the use of Super Mario game improve my teaching of articles a and n? These are the steps in implementation. For the pre-test, I gave them the questionnaires, which are random questions or to complete the sentences, and I want to check the understandings of the grammar a and n. And the next one, when I knew that the results are not satisfying, so I did an intervention, which is for the kids. They really love to play games, and I created the Super Mario game. And for the input, before I let them play the game, I'm using the Google Classroom. And also for the post-test, I gave the same questionnaires but random questions so that they will understand which part of the grammar a and n itself. And these are the steps in implementation. So as you can see, there are the scores and the Super Mario and the enemy itself. So there are blocks. Those blocks are more to the questions. So when the Super Mario hit the block, it is an incomplete sentence. For the incomplete sentence, the pupils need to fill in, is it an N or a? So when he or she answered it correctly, N, 11, supposed to be the answer is N, and I will give them the praise correct. And then next one, what if they answered it wrongly? So for example, New York is large city. It is supposed to be a large city, but the pupils answer it the large city, and turn out to be a wrong answer. So it's supposed to be, so I put there, is the correct answer. Sorry, I directly correct them when they hit the block. So to get the extra mark, they can kill the enemy, and also if they got it wrongly, the scores are not given. When they answer it correctly, they will be given a score 10 marks only. And there are 3 levels in this game: the easy, intermediate, and very high level. And for the easy level, there are only 10 questions and a very simple sentence for them to complete it. And for the intermediate and the high, usually it will make them confused. So they have to choose whether it is a or n. For the high proficiency students, of course, they can answer it, but for the low proficiency students, they tend to think first before they answer the questions. And the words make them confused too. Okay, for my research findings, how does Super Mario game helps pupils to use grammar articles a and n? It is to engage the pupils in meaningful learning of grammar articles a and n using Super Mario game. In this Super Mario game, my pupils really engage it actively because they tend to interact with each other. And also, pupils perform better in answering the grammar articles a and n during the pre-test and post-test after playing Super Mario game. During the pre-test for the first cycle of the my model, pupils couldn't answer it correctly, and one of them got 1/10 for the correct mark. But after the post-test, after I did it for a few cycles, the particular people got it for 9/10. So the Super Mario is very effective to my pupils because while they are playing, they are also in a fun learning, and they also learn what are grammar articles a and n. Also, how does the use of Super Mario game improve my teaching of grammar articles a and n? Change my grammar articles a and n lesson from a dull lesson into a fun and interesting lesson. Before this, during my teaching and learning lesson, my pupils tend to get bored because I kept on giving them the graded worksheets, and some of them asked for an interactive learning, such as playing games, Simon Says, charades, but some of them also choose online games. I choose not to get an online game because it is hard for them to access it in school and also at home. So I prefer doing a new one and innovate a new one, which is the Super Mario game, turn it into a grammar game, so that while they are playing, they will learn. And suggestions in further actions. The first one is redesign to a self-regulated game. Super Mario game, it has a potential to redesign it into a self-regulated game, which means teachers should not facilitate the pupils all the time. So I have to redesign it into a self-regulated game and also a self-assessment based game platform for kids. While they are playing, they can self-assess themselves whether they understand the concept of grammar articles a and n. And also implementing Super Mario game in the classroom during teaching and learning. Maybe one day in the future, we can implement Super Mario game in the classroom and playing it offline. It is not supposed to be offline, so implementing it into a very fun learning environment so that the pupils engage actively in the classroom. And okay, that is all from me. I hand it back to the moderator.